Hey, what's good, YouTubers? It's your dude, Heat Ledger, coming at you again with a brand new discussion video because you guys love the last one so much. Thank you to everyone that's been participating. Very, very cool stuff. This topic of discussion is on customizations, and the question I have is, does a customization make a sneaker fake? All right, let that sink in. Some people might hear that and say, that's a very strange question, man. Why would you ask that? That's a very odd question. And I'll tell you how I got there, so just hear me out. So I'm in Toronto and I go to one of these boutiques. I'm not going to mention the store name, that doesn't matter. But I went to a sneaker boutique. They sell sneakers, streetwear, whatever. And I'm talking to one of the employees, and we just start talking, chatting about new upcoming sneaker releases and this, that, and the third. It was an awesome conversation. And then at the end, we got on the topic of customizations. I think at the time I was customizing this shoe. So I said, oh yeah, I'm in the middle of customizing something. It's taking me a long time, da-da-da. And I asked him, do you have any customs? Do you mess with that? He said, no, I don't have any customs. I don't buy customs. I don't mess with any of that. Because to me, those are like fakes. And I was like, whoa, what fakes? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like that's an interesting answer or thought. And I had to ask, like, do you mind like elaborating a little bit? Because I don't quite understand what you mean, and I want to understand what you're trying to say. And he said, well, growing up, he's about my age, 24, 25. It's like growing up, you'd see all sorts of J's and Nikes that had all these crazy colorways. All right, so maybe you'd see this back in the early 2000s with this exact same colorway, and you'd know that that's not an official colorway. Like Jordan brand never authorized this colorway on this shoe at that time, or whatever, or even this, for instance, they've never authorized this colorway. And so when we saw that, you just know right away. It's like, that's a fake. That's a bootleg shoe, man. And that's that. And so growing up, when he started seeing shoes, he explained that when he started seeing shoes that weren't, official releases, there was just, he just assumed they were fake. There's just so much out there that he's like, if I've never seen it before, then to me it's probably fake. When I see someone walking by me on the street with them on, I gotta just assume they're fake. How would I know otherwise? And I thought about that. I'm like, that's a really good point. I mean, Jordan brand never did authorize this colorway. For someone that knows their J's and knows, the colorways off by heart, you would know that this colorway never existed. All right, this colorway has never been authorized, never hit shelves. And if it's never been authorized, does that make the sneaker fake? Does that make the sneaker, not an official, Jordan release? And he said absolutely. Like, if I have to assume they're fake if I've never seen a colorway before, because there's just so many fakes out there. You just never know. That is my way of separating the real from the fake. And I said, okay, that's cool. And I walked away and I thought about it a bit more. And I thought, so what if the original base shoe was an authentic shoe and then you painted over that? And I didn't have the chance to ask him that because this was like hours later when I thought about this a bit more. But I thought about that. If the base shoe is the authentic and you do a customization on top of that, does that make the shoe fake? And it's an interesting thought and an interesting question, because if a manufacturer has never authorized the colorway and then you've done the colorway, what does that mean for the shoe? Do you assume that the base shoe, if it's authentic, then the shoe is authentic, or what is authentic? That question is really wrapped up in a whole bunch of different definitions and terms that I'm not going to go into right now. But while I don't agree with that guy, the employee, I still think if the base shoe is authentic and you customize it from there, it's still an authentic shoe. I do understand what he's trying to say. So, and I mean, with so many, there's fake everything, not just shoes, there's fake purses and bags. And so if you see any alteration, chances are you're probably going to think it's just a bootleg. And that's nothing, there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually a pretty fair assumption. But to me, as a customizer and someone that's getting into this game a bit more, it was definitely weird for me to think something that I've never thought about before, and that was weird. I don't agree with it, but I respect that opinion. So for me right now, and for you guys that are watching, with everything that's been said, where do you stand on that discussion? Where do you stand in terms of your answer? I'd love to hear the comments down below. Definitely let me know, and tell me your opinion, because I'd love to hear it. All right, should do Heat Ledger signing out for now, man. Peace.